In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 8 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. It has been a cold and wintry week in West Virginia. Yeah. And as much as we had to, and as such, we had to alter our recording schedule this week. And so my usual partner in crime, Matt Amory, is not here with us this week. I promise you, though, he has not been fired, and we hope to get back to our normal schedule next week when Matt will be able to join us once again. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post. And the co-pilot's chair today, we have Michael Griffith of the Dominion Post. Michael, how you doing?
Happy Thursday to all of you. I'm doing well.
Michael, we have a very special guest on the show today. On this podcast, we will have University High boys head basketball coach Joe Schmidl. Mm-hmm. His Hawks are currently 10-3 and ranked number 6 in Class 4A. University High has a huge showdown coming up at 4 p.m. Saturday as the Hawks will host number 3 ranked George Washington. The Patriots were the number 1 ranked team, right, yes. Mike, up until this week, right?
Yes, they were. They took a loss to Parkersburg South, which is kind of the theme of Quad A this year, is everybody's just beating up on everybody. So
kind of sucks, though, right? I mean, you want to host the number 1
That's fair.
Team,
Be
right?
their first loss, yeah.
We will discuss that matchup with Coach Schmidl and so much more. Before we get into all of that, though, Michael, welcome to the co-pilot's chair. Second week in a row.
Yes. It's fun.
Would you tell the good people who sponsors our show?
I would be glad to. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Whether you're interested in hosting a sophisticated corporate retreat, a joyful baby shower, or a spectacular wedding reception, Hotel Morgan provides a backdrop steeped in nearly a century of Morgantown history. Reimagined with boutique comfort and 1920-era charm, we take pride in making every event a memorable and stylish experience.
More technical stuff here. Where can you find the podcast?
And you can always find a link to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast at www.dominionpost.com, or you can find us on social media, both on Spotify and YouTube.
I'm very excited about having Coach Schmidl on today. You know, he's a former, he is a Preston County boy at heart, just like I am, so we go back a little ways. But really excited to talk to Coach Schmidl. Before we get him on the line, though, Michael, I think we need to kind of update everyone on what's been going on this winter in our local area, besides the bad weather.
Right.
Just last week we had number 1 versus number 2, a wrestling showdown. University High, Parkersburg South. Austin Porter continues to pile up points for Trinity High boys, the Christian boys basketball team. Mm-hmm. Get us up to speed. What's been catching your eye in the winter sports so far?
Yeah. Friday night, Parkersburg and UHS kind of kicked off the crazy, chaotic weekend when it came to sports and weather. Friday night, like I said. And UHS, they had Connellsville there as well. Just a little
nobody cares about Connellsville.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But UHS Parkersburg did have a duel, number 1 versus number 2, like Justin mentioned, and UHS came away with that duel 41-30.
41-30, okay.
In the scoring. So you get points in wrestling for different things, pins, depending on how you win the match, stuff like that. There's
Tech
different
falls,
points.
major decisions.
So, big win for Parkersburg. I wrote a little story.
For University.
For University. Sorry about that. I did write a story on that, which came out yesterday. And in my opening, I just kind of said, the easiest way to find out who's best in any sport is just to put the top 2 teams together and put them head to head. Let them go at it. And, UHS has kind of tightened that grip on the top spot heading into the last month of the season. You're going to have the WSAZ tournament in Huntington this weekend. That's always a really huge tournament, not only in the state. You get a lot of out-of-state guys coming to that, too. And then they're going to have the West Virginia State Championship duels. So in wrestling, you kind of get 2 opportunities for a state title. Actually, really 3 if you think about the wrestling tournament, the individual championships, and the West Virginia State dual tournament. So the Hawks are going to be going into that favorites after they obviously beat number 2. And I got to give a shout out to Jacob Hensley. He is the 126-pound wrestler at University currently on the varsity roster, but The reason that he is in that spot is due to injury to their senior, Caden Nyman, who was the 126. He's been starting for the Hawks for 3 years now, coming into his senior year. And Jacob Hensley comes out in the duel and does nothing else but defeats the number 3 wrestler in the state in the weight class from Parkersburg, CJ Carotis. So I think that just kind of talks about the depth of the Hawks program.
I was going to say, Kenny's got something going on over there.
I mean, you got a guy coming up from JV, if you want to say JV, from maybe varsity part 2. I don't know. And he comes up and beats the number 3 guy in the state and helps you win a great duel. And I mean, that's going to not only help his team build some confidence, but Hensley is going to have a ton of confidence going into the last month of the season. I saw Nyman in a knee brace, so hopefully he's okay. I don't know if he'll come back, but talking about the depth, Ken Mizell told me that their JV team went to a varsity tournament at St. Mary's and won the whole thing.
Wow.
And I was like, what in the world? So, like you said, really, really good result on the map.
Yeah, Kenny's, Hawks. I mean, we had Kenny on the show a few weeks ago, and, he obviously kind of spelled out the way the program has, developed over the years. He's got things rolling. And the fact that, he went into the season, his best all-time wrestler, Brock Keeler, had graduated and moved on to WVU, so you lose that.
Yep.
His younger brother, right, got injured.
Both state
football,
champions,
right?
Yeah.
And so now you've lost 2
of your
Brody.
best.
Yeah, you've lost Brody Kaler for the season, and now you got another kid injured, and they just keep plugging along and rolling right away. That's the mark of.
That's a program.
Right.
That's not a team. That's a program when you talk about the difference between a team and a program. And the plug-and-play Hawks, we'll just call them that. You know what I mean? You lose one guy, you just plug another guy in, and here he goes, and he's not missing a beat. But, we'll move on to some hoops here, like you said.
Hold on real quick.
Oh, I apologize.
I'm interested in this 1 versus 2 with Parkersburg.
Okay.
So there's 14 weight classes. You said the final score was 41-30.
30,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I believe it was 8-6 as far as like wins and losses.
Okay.
UHS had 8 matches won, and Parkersburg had 6 losses.
So obviously the 8 matches that University High won, they scored more points.
Right.
It wasn't just
better
that they
results.
won. Right. They had better results.
Yeah,
they got
that's
a
a
few
good
more
way to
points.
put it.
But 8-6, that kind of tells me that Parkersburg is right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, Parkersburg's early weights, those 106, the 113s, the 120s,
That's where they get you.
They are all really high ranked in the state. And UHS actually dropped, I think, the first 3 matches of the duel, and then Hensley comes out against the number 3 guy and flips the script, if you will. So just a really good result for them. And I mean, what can you say? The best thing about Ken Mizell, too, is, no matter what happens, win, loss, championship, anything, he stays the same as far as, where his head is and all that. He's really good about not letting success get to him too much, I think. So.
I always, over the years, kind of compared winning a wrestling state championship sort of kind of along the lines of maybe a track state championship.
Okay.
Now, here's where I'm going with this. In track, you obviously have your distance events.
Correct.
Your 2 miles and your 1 mile and your 4x8 relay, and you have all these, and then of course you have your sprints.
Right.
And so I've seen teams over the years win state championships because they had strong sprinters.
Yeah.
I've seen teams win state championships in track over the years because they had strong distance runners.
Right. Sure.
And so it wasn't that teams were just so all around, great in all the events, is that they were dominant in one or the other. Wrestling's kind of in that kind of theory. Wrestling's in that you can have, you picture wrestlers as these big grappling, 250-pound guys. But you've got, 103? I mean, you've got half
all the way to 285.
Right, half the weight classes are guys who are like under 150 pounds.
100%.
I mean, we're not talking about these big, strong, grappling guys with, hockey beards.
Right.
And, and so you can actually win state tournaments by having good lightweight guys in wrestling, or you can win a state championship with the big burly kind of guys. So it sounds like Parkersburg has those younger, lightweight guys.
Yep.
University High maybe more balanced, right?
Yeah, they are. And before, I think Caden Nyman, before he went out, he might have been ranked in the top 5 of 126, I want to say. But yeah,
Did they get Nyman back?
I don't know. That's what I was just saying. I saw him in a knee brace. I don't know what happened, so I try not to get too into injuries when it comes to high school sports, but definitely feel for him and hope that he does come back because it is his senior year, like I said, and I don't think he has an individual state title under his belt just yet. He's obviously helped them win the last 2 team titles, but yeah, like you said, and the thing about wrestling when you get to those different weight classes is it can look like a completely new sport almost. Like it is still wrestling, but the match itself, you get two 280-pound guys, they're just running into each other like thunder and lightning over there, but you get the smaller guys and maybe they are doing some more technical stuff. Maybe they're, a kid's got his legs wrapped around the back of the other kid like we saw in one of those pictures that our photographer Ben took. Just it's stuff like that in wrestling that really can keep it fresh. I guess that's a good word when you're spectating or anything like that. So that's a really good point that you brought up about, the different classes and different sizes.
Let's talk some hoops. Has Porter scored 50 yet? Has he dropped 50 on anyone yet?
He has not, but he's come close a few times, and he's still playing really well. The Trinity Christian boys team, actually, they have a little big 3 going on. You remember back then when the Celtics started the big 3, you had Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. Trinity has a big 3 for themselves.
Anything is possible, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Along with Porta, who is averaging 25 points himself, Colin Limley and Maddox Musadis, they are responsible, the 3 of them, have been responsible for 87% of Trinity Christian scoring this season so far.
I love how those names just roll off.
They do.
Musadis.
Yes. It's really cool. So Porta, like I said, is averaging 25 points. He averages a couple assists, a couple rebounds as well. Colin Limley, another senior, he's pouring in a double-double every game. He's got 16.2 points to his name, and he's pulling down 11 rebounds as well. Maddox Musadis, a really good point guard that's kind of breaking out this year. He's only a junior, so he'll be back next year. He's averaging 17.2 points, 6 assists, 2.9 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. The smallest player on the floor is averaging 2 blocks a game. And the crazy thing about all those 3 guys, they're all shooting at least 50% or better from the field, which is nuts. Porta is actually 50% from 3. He's made 67 threes this year, and he's shooting 50% from the floor on 236 shot attempts. So
the stats.
Hey, I got to break down the numbers for you when they're this impressive. You know what I'm saying? Got to let the people know.
My interest in Trinity, I mean, it intrigues me here. Now, have we got the matchup with Clay Battelle yet?
We were supposed to this week.
The weather,
but
right?
The weather affected that. They do have another game scheduled for February 3rd. So,
with Clay Battelle?
With Clay Battelle.
Now, is that where is it, home or on the road?
You asked me too quickly. I'll have to look.
Okay.
So, but either way, that's going to be a very anticipated matchup, and it's one where Trinity's going to have to prove that they can compete with the top of the Class A.
Well, Clay Battelle is obviously, what are they ranked in Class A?
They're currently 4th at 9-2. They started 9-0, but they have dropped their last 2 games.
Okay, so but they've got the respect. Trinity's trying to get there, right?
Sure, yeah. They're 12-1, not quite in the top 10, so I guess that kind of speaks to maybe their schedule, maybe stuff like that the coaches are seeing.
Intrigued, though? If those 2 teams can, if the weather permits, right? I mean,
I will say I think Clay Battelle probably is a little strong. Like I just got done talking about the big 3 for Trinity, right? Clay Battelle is a little more deep. They actually bring a guy, a guy or 2 off the bench that are going to make an impact on the game. So that's something I'll be watching in that game. Is just the matchups on the floor. Where the depth's going to go. It'll be curious to see how that paces the game, I think.
All right, so looking at the rankings here, we're going to talk with Coach Joe Schmidl of University High boys basketball team here in just a bit. They're currently ranked number 6 in the state. Dave Tallman, who we had on the show last week from Morgantown High, they are the new number 1 team in the state right now. Is that correct?
They are, and they're actually the only unbeaten team left in Quad A. And the craziest thing, like I said, I think it was last week or whenever we were talking to him, they're the number 1 team, undefeated, but they don't have a Player of the Year candidate right now. That's a one thing that is standing out to me about Morgantown. You haven't lost. You're number 1, 11-0, but you don't have anybody averaging more than 15 points. So it's pretty crazy. They're getting a lot of contributions from a lot of different players. Like I said with Dave Tallman, there was a game that I covered a few weeks ago, and they played 12 or 13 guys in the first quarter.
Right.
I mean, that's just crazy to me. And it's not like they were winning by 50 already. I think they were struggling against Parkersburg South or something. But yeah, they should have a top 3 seed come the state tournament. play one of the hardest schedules in the state, but they should be able to pick up more wins going into the postseason play.
How would you like to be the assistant coach there at Morgantown High that has to keep track of subbing guys in and out?
Yeah, I'd rather be a coach for the team than rather having to scout them. I think I had to say that.
So that's kind of what I wanted to do with this opening segment is we've got state tournaments right around the corner.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We've got University Highs probably, in our estimation, is going to win the wrestling state championship. Morgantown High is undefeated on boys basketball, currently ranked number 1. University High is right there in the mix in boys basketball. On the girls' side, Morgantown High, I know, is injury depleted.
Yeah.
They had a freshman, right?
They do, yeah, Maddie Ann. So they actually have a few freshmen they're playing. Their roster only includes one senior on the whole team. But you mentioned the injuries. They're losing their top 2 players right now. Obviously, Kaylee Kellogg has been out their whole season so far. But recently, Brenna Nelson, Jr., who had a huge breakout year last year, she found out that she also tore her ACL, which is really unfortunate. Like I said, she broke out last year. She actually just received her first college offer from Fairmont State, and then it comes out that she tore her ACL. And what's kind of crazy, and especially for someone like me, I've had 3 knee surgeries since 2014. So she didn't
even. What the heck are you doing to your knees?
You know, basketball, man. I can't help it. But anyway, she didn't even know she did it. She said her coach told me that she did not have any swelling. She wasn't really it wasn't agitating her at all. She just knew something was wrong, and she went to get an MRI, and it revealed a torn ACL. So really feel for Brenna. Best of luck on her recovery. Every rep counts, so really but Morgantown continues to play okay. They're
I was going to say the
wins.
Latest freshman, right?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention.
Emerging in Morgantown High is Maddie Ansell.
Maddie Ansell,
is that how you pronounce that?
It is how I pronounce it, Maddie Ansell, and she's been on a scoring tear, averaging probably 20 points over her last 3 or 4 games and helping Morgantown maintain their
You talk
their
about
position.
just plugging away, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what else can you do? You need somebody to step up, and who else answers that call but a freshman? So, but like I said, they have multiple freshmen. Ava Clinton is another really good one, and then sophomore Sydney Dusenberry looks like one of the better sophomores in the state. So, Morgantown has the ability to still win and still make a really great run. It's just going to take some of those girls in the roster that we weren't expecting to really lead them as much as they will.
So when we get to March here, we got University High pinned in for the wrestling state championship. We've got Austin Porter could possibly lead the state in scoring, right?
Yeah.
When he's obviously with Trinity. Morgantown High girls have a shot at the state title.
Absolutely.
Morgantown boys have a shot at the state title. University High boys have a shot at the state title.
Yeah.
Clay Battelle boys basketball, right, has probably a very good shot in Class Single A.
Yeah.
I mean, once we get to March, Mon County may be dominating the month of March. Is that possible?
It's going to look like football season all over again, isn't it? Yeah, and that's actually one thing I am curious about asking Joe Schmidl about is, what does that football success kind of do when it comes to translating on the hardwood? I mean, obviously his players, 4 of his starting 5 play football, and they were in the semifinals, so they didn't have a basketball in their hands until December. I think 2 weeks before their first game. So yeah, Mon County is just a great place to cover sports right now. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that is our weekly wrap up on winter sports. Sounds like everything's heading in the right direction there with our local high schools. Hey, Michael, one more time, let's get this out of the way. If you will, kind sir, who is our sponsor?
Yes, sir. So the Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by The Hotel Morgan. Host your guests in an elegant setting, utilizing our refined meeting spaces, including 2 dedicated boardrooms and state-of-the-art conference technology. Elevate your event with delicious catering and craft cocktail service delivered by our on-site cafe and bar, Anvil and Axe.
It's now time to hear from University High boys head basketball coach Joe Schmidl. Coach, how you doing? You staying warm this winter?
Well, we're doing our best. I'll tell you, it'd be nice if Mother Nature would give us a little bit of a break.
What kind of weather you getting out there in the Cheat Lake area? You guys surviving?
Barely. It's kind of at a standstill here. It's not a whole lot of activity.
Yeah.
We are on the line here with Coach Joe Schmidl, head boys basketball coach at University High. Coach, you guys are 10-3, currently ranked number 6 in Class Quad A. I know you're not a gambling man, but you've got a huge matchup this weekend with George Washington. If you were a gambling man, would you put good money on that game getting played on Saturday?
Yes, yeah. I think we're good. I actually talked to Coach Rick Green from GW last night for about a half hour. He's a good friend of mine, and everything seems to be good on their end. He got to practice yesterday as well, and it's supposed to be cold, but other than that, I don't think we're going to get any more snow or no problems with the roads. So, yeah, I expect that game to take place.
All right, so that's going to be number 6 University High hosting number 3 George Washington at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Coach, we were talking here just a few minutes ago. George Washington, up until this week, was the number 1 ranked team in the state. Probably ticks you off a little bit that they're not number 1 anymore, right?
It does. I'm not going to lie. I mean, anytime that you're facing an undefeated team, it's hard to stay undefeated.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it does some crazy things to the psyche of not just probably high school kids, but at all levels. It adds that little extra element of pressure to remain that way. And anytime you lose, it gets you refocused. And I'm sure it got GW refocused, even though they lost to a very good Parkersburg South team at Parkersburg South, which everybody knows is a very difficult place to play. Probably didn't do us any favors. Park South didn't do us any favors.
Well, Park South tends to do that over the years, right? They're that kind of program.
They are. I mean, they've always got great players, and Mike Fallon does a wonderful job there. Got a ton of respect for him and his program, and they've knocked off some big-time teams and underdog roles, and they're tough.
So we said GW has moved down to number 3 in the state from number 1. Coach, still, though, the matchup itself presents a huge challenge for your guys, right? It kind of one of those games where you find out who you guys are and where you are, right?
Absolutely. And, these are the games I tell my kids. You mentioned we're ranked number 6, and we've kind of hung right around that ranking all year. And, you're not going to move up until you start beating some of these top 5 teams. And we haven't been able to do that. So, our next 3 games are against number 3 GW, number 1 Morgantown, and number 4 Washington. So we got 3 games in a row here where we've got a chance to, make some noise or move up that depth chart a little bit and inch closer to a better ranking. But this matchup with GW, they're a really good team. They're well coached, and for the most part, pretty evenly matched, except the Noah Lewis kid.
Right.
He's the X factor. He's the one. There's not a ton of size in the state of West Virginia right now. There's not a lot of programs that have a lot of size, and he's not just a tall, skinny kid. He's a man. He's a man. And he's a matchup problem because he can shoot the 3. He can post you up. He crashes the boards. He gets a lot of second chance points on putbacks and those kinds of things, and he's the difference maker.
You faced him before, right? In the state tournament with GW, or?
Yeah, you would bring that up. Yeah,
sorry.
Well. Yeah, he played really good against us last year. He had like 17 points in the first half, I think.
Wow.
We got down in the second quarter of that game, and we couldn't recover. Of course, they were really good last year. They ended up beating Morgantown, I think, in the semifinals, and only lost by 3 to a very, very good Spring Mills team last year. So.
Yeah. Coach, you mentioned your schedule. I didn't realize. I mean, GW is enough, but then you said you followed it up with Morgantown High and then the number 4 ranked team. Did you schedule that? Who scheduled that?
Well, you'd have to bring that up too, right? Because,
I mean, if you schedule that, my goodness, come on.
I've been giving Jeff Bailey heck for years about making my schedule And, you know, he pretty much was like, all right, well, if you don't like the way I do it, then you do it. So I did. and here we go.
You got to put some cupcakes in there somewhere, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's really not any cupcakes on our schedule. And, I mean, the month of January and early February, there's nothing. There's not a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of, to go off of that, I think I asked Dave Tallman about this as well. You guys have done this exact same amount of time. So is this one of the deeper classes that you maybe have seen in your decade, a little over a decade coaching at UHS? I mean, it really seems like anybody can beat anybody right now in Quad A.
Yes and no. I remember one year we were the number 1 seed in Charleston, and Morgantown was number 8.
Wow.
And Morgantown was really good.
Yeah.
And of all years for us to get a number 1 seed, and then I get stuck having to play Morgantown, who, gave us a run for our money every time we played them that year. I really still don't know how that happened. I'm sure Tallman feels the same way, but I remember that year it was crazy. And and I think that year was the year that number 7 Musselman beat Park South when they were number 2, and everybody thought it was going to come down to us in Park South. But that year was really deep. But yeah, this year, I think there's a lot of teams, and I'll tell you a team that nobody talks about is Wheeling Park.
Yeah,
Wheeling Park's 3-6, and every game they've lost of those 6 games, I think we were probably, other than Buchanan, we were the worst team that they've lost a game to.
Yeah, and they only lost to Gito by 8 the other night, I think. So.
Yeah, and it was tie game halfway through the third quarter.
Right. Yeah.
They've lost to Morgantown, Steubenville, Monroe Central, Ohio, who's got 1 loss and is defending state champions in Ohio. I mean, he's way better than 3-6. Let me just tell you.
Coach, we had you were talking about Dave Tallman there just a second ago. We had Coach Tallman on the podcast last week. I'm about ready to scare you because I was doing some math this morning. And the math I came up with you and Coach Tallman obviously got hired together at the same time at your schools in 2014. Since then, you guys have both combined for 14 trips to the state tournament. Does it seem like does that math sound right?
Yeah, probably.
I'm not good with math now, But here's the point I wanted to make. I was trying to make this point with Coach Tallman last week. Obviously, the situations you guys walked into, basketball in Mon County had been very good in past years. I think what you and Coach Tallman have both done at University High and Morgantown High is kind of take it up to another level. You obviously won the state championship in 2019. And I asked this with Coach Tallman last week. Is there anything you guys did to kind of elevate both programs to the next level? Was there an extra step you guys took? Was there maybe just a different approach or a different idea maybe that you came up with that kind of took what was, already pretty good, but then made it even better?
I know Dave's a lot like I am in a lot of ways as far as how competitive he is and how high of expectations that we both have for our players and our program. And I think the expectations of putting in the work and the accountability part of it, and if you weren't willing to buy into that, then you probably weren't going to be a part of the program. Mm-hmm. I think that has a lot to do with it. We've both been blessed with some very talented players too. Mm-hmm. I have a generational player or 2 or 3, and a Caden Matheny and a KJ McClurg, and Jeff Hamperian, Ethan Ridgway. But we both had great players. Division I players. He had Sharon, and he wins 3 in a row with Sharon. And a lot of times it takes those guys. You got to have that stud. A lot of times to do special things. And we both had that luxury of having those guys, but their supporting cast has been pretty good too.
Yeah.
Coach, I'm glad you mentioned Caden, who obviously, I think, is he working on his doctorate at Liberty? I mean, he's still in college, right? I mean, he's had one heck of a college career.
He has. And, these guys benefited from this COVID year, and he also benefited from a redshirt year. But he's making more money playing basketball right now than I am doing what I'm doing. I can tell you that. And probably more money than both of you guys are making, too.
Yeah.
So he's probably loving it a little bit more this year. And, of course, they're undefeated in conference play.
Yeah.
They're doing really well. They're like 16-3 or something crazy. I mean, they've been a lot of fun to watch, and he's been a lot of fun to follow. Had a lot of success there, and hopefully they can get another bid for the NCAA tournament this year.
We are on the line with University High boys basketball coach Joe Schmidl. We were just talking about Caden Matheny. I got some numbers here, Coach. Liberty is dominating Conference USA right now, like you said. They are 17-3, 9-0 in league play. Caden is averaging 13.2 points per game, shooting 38% from three-point range. How much of a chance have you had to get a chance to watch him this year?
I've probably watched him about 10 times.
Okay.
Every chance that we get, we watch Liberty. I mean, they're a great team, a fun team to watch, and of course, getting to watch Caden play every chance I get is a bonus. And it's awesome just to see how much fun and how much success he's having there. He loves their coach. He loves the program. He loves the kids he's playing with. It reminds me a lot of how he played when he was here with the group that he had around him. He just makes everybody else on the floor better. And even though he's a constant threat to score, he enjoys keeping everybody involved and passing the ball and making everybody around him better just as much as that.
I'm kind of curious to kind of go one more about Caden here. When he came in his freshman year, that fall freshman year or whatever, I'm sure you knew about him coming out of middle school and stuff like that. But when he came in, that first day of tryouts or practice his freshman year, just how obvious was it that he could actually be like that player?
All right, well, I'll tell you a little story here.
Okay.
As Rustin would say, it's all about the story.
Absolutely.
Caden finishes 8th grade, and it's probably the first or second week of June. At that time, we have the 3-week period. And we, everybody's talking about how good Caden is. And, of course, I went and watched Caden play a lot in middle school. And, as a coach, you're cautiously optimistic about things. And I'm like, well, we'll see. When he plays against older kids,
right,
we'll see how good he is. So we go to Fairmont Senior, and we're playing in the Armory, and it's our first summer league game. And I don't start him because, he's,
right.
He's so wet behind the ears. I put him in the game probably midway through the first quarter, and about 2 or 3 minutes after the game started, I looked at my assistants, and I'm like, yep, he's going to be starting.
It was that obvious, huh?
No brainer. Made your job easy, didn't it?
It was, and I'll tell you what else too. My older guys, Ethan Ridgway and Austin Forbes, and those guys who were my scorers. And here's how smart Caden was. Caden could have been out there scoring a bunch as a freshman,
right?
But he wanted to make sure they were getting theirs.
Yeah.
So those guys were coming to me, and they're like, hey, he needs to be our starting point guard. He needs to be our starting point guard. And I'm like, well, why do you like him so much? And they're like, well, because he throws us the ball, Coach.
Right. Did Caden ever give you heck for not starting him in that summer league game?
Now I'm hoping he forgot about that. If not, I'm sure he would have reminded me many times.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I think there was one time I was still in college, but obviously, I just love the sport so much. Had one night free, and I came out to watch you guys one night. I forget who you were playing, maybe Wheeling Park or something, but I just came as a fan, and I will never forget that night watching him play. I think you guys put up 100 points that night, but man, he was just pulling up from almost half court, just swishing, nothing but net everything. It was just really fun to watch. I'm really glad I got the chance to see him play live one time for sure.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. He had quite a few games like that. He had one at the Beach Ball Classic in Myrtle Beach. The first year we went down, we had to play Cox Mill, North Carolina, and their starting point guard ended up starting as a freshman at Duke the next year. And everybody was talking about him. And, he was a 6'5", probably 215-pound point guard, and then you got Caden, 5'10", and probably 160 pounds, right?
Yeah.
And Caden dropped 37 on him.
Wow.
And he made like eight or nine threes that game.
Wow.
And he was pulling up from volleyball line or beyond off the bounce and shooting. And we ended up losing the game by 4 points, I think. But those guys knew they were in a ball game before it was all said and done. And that game will forever be on my huddle.
In the archives.
In my huddle library. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, following your career over the years, obviously, we mentioned the state championship you guys won in Class AAA in 2019. I guess I don't know if unfortunate is the right word or not. I don't know if it's the word you would use, but in my opinion, the most unfortunate part of your coaching journey was the 2020 season, in that you guys were right there in the running to win back-to-back titles. You were number one in the state heading into the state tournament, and then bam, along comes COVID, and the state tournament gets shut down, and that team never really got the chance to reach a pinnacle that would have been remembered forever. I'm just kind of wondering, all these, it's been 5-6 years later now. Has there been a chance to just come to terms with that disappointment from the COVID year?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind we were going to win that.
Yeah.
I mean, we were head and shoulders better than everybody, and I don't like to, but there's not anybody that's going to disagree with that. I mean, we were that team was that good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they were that determined. They were that focused. There was no let up, no hangover from the year before after winning a championship.
Yeah.
They say the hardest thing to do is to stay on top. After you got there, these guys were they were just unbelievably focused and dedicated, and that hurt.
Yeah,
that hurt a lot, and that hurt my program. I'm not going to lie. That I think at that time we were the number one program in the state of West Virginia, and then we had, kids were all wanting to come to University High School.
Yeah.
And then the COVID year following, we only got to play like 11 games or something, and it just seemed to snowball into a lot of unfortunate things for our program, and we were just probably a little better than average for 2 or 3 years after that, and we're finally getting things back on track here the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The only thing that could beat that team was a pandemic, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah. You can kind of talk about your current roster now, like you just kind of said. You guys have been building up to where you are now, 10-3, like we said, and number 6 in the class, and really, you have a really deep roster this year. I've obviously watched you guys a few times, and I think the latest game against Buchanan, 4 of your starters were in double figures. And then the last starter, Kyle Weaver, only had 2 points, but he was your leading rebounder as the smallest guy on the floor. So, just kind of talk through your roster this year. I know the first of the year, they were all coming off the football field, literally fresh off the football field. Luke Byers coming off an injury, all that stuff. So just kind of set the scene for your roster now and just what you like about your guys currently.
I think we're just really talented, and everybody's kind of good at their own thing, and not too many of these guys are trying to do things that they're not good at, which is important. Go out there and do your job, do what you're good at. Don't try to do things that you're not good at. I got two really athletic guys, and KK Lewis and Luke Byer. Both of them can play above the rim. KK's improved his mid-range and perimeter shooting a lot. Luke's a three-point threat.
Yeah.
They both finish well around the rim. They can both take the ball to the hole. Anytime you can score at all three levels, it's a matchup nightmare for your opponents. Eli Kropinski's probably my most valuable kid as far as his versatility. His basketball IQ is really good. He's become a leader. He's real vocal. He's just a leader. I mean, on and off the court.
Yeah.
Our guards with Jagger Barnes. Jagger's really stepped into his role this year.
Yeah.
And he can shoot the three real well. Kyle Weaver, he's the kind of guy always, we joke around on the golf course when somebody makes a putt or something and they say, only when I need it. Only when I need it, right? Well, that's kind of Kyle.
Okay.
Kyle doesn't really look to score a whole lot, only when we need it.
Yeah.
And he's very unselfish. He's another kid that his basketball IQ is it's through the roof. He's a true point guard. He facilitates our offense, makes sure everybody is where they're supposed to be. And a huge bonus with Kyle is he's so strong. He's not real tall. He's probably 5'9", 5'10", but he's probably the strongest kid on the team.
Wow.
And he can just play defense so hard.
Yeah.
And he never fouls.
He's always in the right spot, too. He's always in the right place. I don't know how to explain that, but he really is. Yeah,
well, that's just part of him being smart. I mean, he just knows, he's kind of like an old guy playing in a young kid's body. He knows that he just knows what to do, and things that you can't coach.
Right,
That's what makes him really valuable. And then we got Jack Byer that comes off the bench most of the time, and he's a big, strong kid, and he can run. He runs the floor as good as any big guy I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's been a great leader for us. And Glenn Brown, obviously, he's an incredible athlete. He can do it all. He's really just here in the last week or so starting to see the ball go through the basket a little bit more from outside. And, that's been big, I think, for him because, he can shoot it.
Yeah, and he can fill it up when he gets going.
Yeah, and he hasn't really been looking to shoot the ball from the perimeter. I'm sure it's a confidence thing, but now that he's starting to make some, he's not hesitating. He's just catching it and shooting it, and then now you got to try to guard him out there.
Right.
And then he's going to go by you.
Right.
So that's been big. And then I got a couple guys that your role players for us with Caden Matheny's little brother Trayson and Matthew Pearson, who can shoot it. Man, I'm telling you, Matthew can shoot the lights out, and Trey's a great shooter, and his defense here just really in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's really impressed me with how well he's been defending, and I'm going to have to get him more minutes.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Now, I know Justin has seen KK Lewis play football before, but Justin, you might have to break out of your shell and go to a university high school basketball game this year because this kid might be the best athlete in the entire state.
I've seen a couple of pictures of his dunks.
Well, he had a coach will remember this. I was at the Buchanan game, and there was, I think you guys turned the ball over on a fast break, or it was a 2-on-1, and it might have been Buchanan's best player, went up for layup, and KK vertically got up to the square and blocked this shot, and I almost fell out of my chair at the scores table. I'm not going to lie. It was insane. And Coach, I know you know exactly what play I'm talking about, too.
Yep, I sure do. I think he felt like he was in panic mode there after he threw that ball away.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh man, coach is going to be mad."
I mean, he just 2 feet and looked like he could have touched the top of the backboard. It was insane. And another, I won't ask too much because I don't want you to give it away. But when did you install that little backdoor alley oop for him that you guys like to run out of a timeout?
When the trainer was cleaning the blood up off the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally right then. I don't know why Buchanan's coach didn't pull his kids over to the side, but
Right.
they were standing out there in a 1-2-2, which they hadn't ran the whole game. and we knew that they might run a 1-2-2 some because they had done it. You know, we had scouted them pretty good. And I said, "Look, here's what we're going to do." Now, we had never put this play in.
Right.
And I said, "Here's their tendencies of what they're going to do." And I said, "Luke, you get that thing when we get it to you on the foul line." I said, "I just want you to turn and face the basket and act like you're going to go to the hole." And I said, "That forward's going to come up." I said, "Just throw it up."
Yeah. Oh man. And KK caught it.
And he
I'll tell you
did.
that much.
Yep. He sure did.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I'm really interested in your take on the postseason changes in West Virginia, and that for the majority of your coaching career, you've dealt with the sectional tournaments and regional tournaments as the way to advance to Charleston. And now, basically, I think this is the first year for it. Michael, is it
Second year? Yeah.
So they've essentially cut the state in half, and now they're going to take 4 teams from the north, 4 teams from the south, and that's who goes to Charleston. Obviously, that was the situation last year, so this is the second year for it. What's your take on that process as opposed to what the state had prior to that?
I think it has its pros and cons, just like anything else does. But I don't like it for the most part.
It's too much travel, right?
It's a lot of travel.
Well, it's not so much just to travel, but I mean, I don't think, and I'm sure this is going to change from year to year, but the balance of power, the North is.
Yep, I agree.
It's way better than the South right now.
Yep.
And so I think there's 6 teams in the North that should probably be playing in the state tournament, and only 4 are going to get to go. So here we are in the same old argument that there's always been.
Right.
When you had way back in the day when you had Morgantown and University High School girls were the 2 best teams in West Virginia, and they had to play each other in the section.
Yeah,
right?
they play each other in the sectionals, right?
Yep.
Right. So I just don't understand, other than the fact that somebody, which I'm not going to mention, the powers that be, are worried about money.
I'll go ahead and mention them. Go ahead.
If we got 20 teams, why don't we have the bottom 8 have a play-in game? Let's end up with 16 teams, and then 16 goes to 1, 15 goes to 2, right?
Yeah.
And those 16 teams are going to play a game to go to the state tournament.
Huh. Okay. I like that idea.
I mean, that sounds pretty simple, right?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense. So we're never going to do that.
Right.
I would just almost kind of wonder why not do basketball like they do football with the rating system.
Well, there you go. And that's pretty much how it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
You don't get rewarded in basketball for playing a tough schedule. Because if I play a really tough schedule and I end up with 6 or 7 losses, and somebody else in Quad A plays a bad schedule and they end up with 2 or 3 losses, they're going to get seated ahead of me, because a lot of people, when they vote on who gets seated where, they're just looking at their record.
Sure.
100%.
So there needs to be changes made, and I'm all about having Cinderellas. You're still not taking that element out of the tournament. If you're not making the final 16 teams, then you probably don't need to be there anyways.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Coach, we're about out of time, but before we let you go, I got to ask you. I have in my notes here, when I was typing up my notes here this morning, I was like, can I ask Coach Middle about the parking garage story? I mean, can we go ahead and do that?
Well, it's a true story.
Oh, I love it. It's a fantastic story. Michael's got it.
I'm curious now, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to set the scene here, Coach. So back in the day, Joe Schmidl was the JV coach, assistant coach for Barry Sanders at Preston High School.
Okay, yeah.
And Barry and Barry's still on your staff now. He's one of your assistants now, right, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So Barry and Joe, they've been thick and thin for years and years now. So back in the day, whenever Preston High School, like there were years, obviously they went to the state tournament,
Yes.
so they would, go down to Charleston, this, that, and the other. But the years that Preston wouldn't go to the state tournament, Barry and Joe would still go every year, right? The problem was, Preston wouldn't vouch for the hotel rooms, right? Or how did that go?
Well, yeah, I mean, they wouldn't vouch for anything, and they weren't paying us anything. I think Barry was making $1,500 to be a head coach, and I was making like $600 or $700 to be an assistant coach. And we had to pay. We had to drive to all of our games. So that was pretty much. It might have covered your gas money,
Right.
to get to the away games. So we were broke. Just long story short, we were broke.
So everyone was broke. They're going down to Charleston. So back in the day, there was Joey's, right, which was right across the street from the Civic Center back in the day before it caught on fire. May it rest in peace.
Yeah.
We're having dinner one night, and I'm sitting there talking with Barry, and Barry's telling me the story about how him and Joe are sleeping out in the parking garage for the state tournament. I didn't believe him.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, did you guys sleep in the same truck or different trucks, or...
Well, we slept in Barry's car the first couple times.
Okay.
And then the straw that broke the camel's back, we took my Toyota Tacoma one year, and the guys from Tucker County got the bright idea they were going to start doing the same thing. So we're up there at 2 or 3 in the morning, and the coach from Tucker County gets out of his car to come over and knock on our window and say hi in his pajamas.
What in the world?
And his car door, the wind blew his car door shut, and it was locked.
Oh, man.
And his spare set of keys were in Tucker County. So guess who had to sleep in the front seat of the Toyota Tacoma with me and Barry?
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Right? Now, here's the best part of the whole story. When we pull into the parking garage the first day, it was $3 to park. So
well,
we go to the
Barry
games,
flipped for that, right?
and Barry paid for the $3. And I know people are going to find that hard to believe.
Yeah, sure.
Barry
Right.
paid the $3. So we go to the games, and we usually, would go out and eat and everything at night. The next morning, Barry says, "Get your gym bag. We're going to walk down to Embassy Suites like we're staying there." And he says, "We're going to go in. We're going to take a swim. We're going to get in the hot tub and and we're going to take a shower. Then we're going to go out and we're going to eat a free buffet breakfast.
Yeah.
Act like you own the place, right?
That's right.
Act like we own the place." So we do. We're walking back to the parking garage, and Barry says, "You owe me $1.50 for the room and breakfast."
Well, he had to cover the parking price for the $3. But the funny the one thing that I remember, so like I said, Barry's telling me the story about how they're sleeping out in the parking garage. I didn't believe it, so we're leaving that night. I'm walking back to my hotel, which was the Holiday Inn, which is right there next to the Civic Center. And there goes Joe and Barry walking off into the middle of the night, walking off into the depths of the parking garage. You guys should have started charging people there, man. You could have made some money on that racket.
You're probably right. I mean, we were trendsetters.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They should have a space on the parking garage that just locked off for you guys every year now,
Oh, yeah, they should probably name that thing after us.
There you go. No more parking garages now, right? Big time in it at U High, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've made our way into hotel rooms. We have done that. So I can't sleep good in the car anymore.
Hey, Coach, we love the stories, man. Thank you so much for sharing some time with us today, and good luck to you guys this weekend against GW.
All right, man. Maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
All right, that is all the time we have for today. We thank you for listening in. We really do. We appreciate it very, very much. We want to thank University High boys basketball coach Joe Schmidl for joining us earlier, and we wish him good luck as we thought it was going to be number 1, George Washington. It is now number 3. But again, that game is at 4 o'clock on a Saturday. Number 6 Hawks hosting number 3 George Washington. We wish Joe Schmidl and the Hawks all the luck in the world. Michael, we missed Matt for a second week in a row.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in and supporting us and helping us out.
Yeah, definitely miss seeing Matt around, but I always enjoy popping on the mic with you, of course. Let me just get us out of here with one more plug, and then you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and if you have a chance, get out to UHS on Saturday at 4 o'clock, watch some good basketball. So thank you for joining us today on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. You can select a wedding venue where you can host your perfect ceremony and grand reception in one of our 2 magnificent ballrooms. From the restored historic architecture to the stylish, comfortable guest rooms for everyone in your party, Hotel Morgan provides an environment where every guest feels cared for in the heart of downtown Morgantown. We are now booking 2026 dates in our brand new 8th floor ballroom. Once again, we thank you so much for tuning into the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, where the couches are safe, but the takes are on fire.